so far I've lost 20 pounds. And how I did that was keto.
How long did it take you to do
It took
20
me
pounds?
20 pounds. It took me 2 months, which
Pretty
is
quick.
It's pretty incredible. I can definitely say I'm pretty stoked with. And actually, my wife did it with me too, and she also lost 20 pounds. So, we're both believers in the keto. So, and for those of you who don't know, keto is just basically no carbs or very, very low carbs. So there's a lot of meats and fats, which for me works. I like it. I'm not a complainer.
How much steak have you eaten?
Ooh, not enough. A lot, but not enough. I try and do meat in every meal. It just makes it so simple. But
The biggest thing I struggle with in diets is sticking with it. So, how are you able to stick with it to lose 20 pounds?
well, the thing is just avoiding triggers, or as I like to say, avoiding the cookie aisle. Cookies aren't actually something that's been a hard trigger for me to avoid. I'm not a big sweets person to begin with, but just avoiding unhealthy food, like not going to fast food places because that would trip me up into eating unhealthy food, or just not compromising, just really focus on well, the big motivation was seeing the results so fast. So that kept me going like, okay,
Yeah.
I want to stick with this. And it made it easier and easier to avoid.
Have you hit a plateau at any point?
The only plateaus were when I cheated. That's the only time I stopped losing weight is when I cheated on the diet. And it was intentional. Like there's times where we just want to stop and actually enjoy a party or something like that and have meals that were hors d'oeuvres provided for us. So, but the cookie owl as a topic in general is what I use to tell people just to avoid their triggers. And the premise of avoiding your triggers is the premise of trying to get rid of bad habits. And the best way to drop bad habits is to just avoid your triggers. It's not a magical cure-all, but avoiding your triggers is one of the easiest ways to start weaning yourself off bad habits.
Right. If you don't go down the aisle, then
Right.
you don't have the opportunity to purchase the cookies in the first place.
Right. If you just go in the store, just get your milk, eggs, and fruit and veggies, then you don't even get a chance to look at the cookies. You don't get a chance to tempt yourself with breaking your habit and hurting yourself in the end.
They make it easy with DoorDash, though.
I've never DoorDashed food.
That is
Well,
my problem.
Groceries, at least.
No, I mean like the milkshakes, the blizzards, and
Yeah.
that's what I like to DoorDash about 10 o'clock at night.
I can't say I guess we've done that a couple times. But the cookie aisle, I don't mean for just dieting. It's the easiest metaphor for dieting, but however, it is not exclusive to dieting, and I'll explain what I mean. The cookie aisle can be for any bad habit, really. Porn, alcohol, nicotine, caffeine, video games, politics, gossiping, social media, any of these can be what your vice or habit is. And the triggers aren't always cookies, obviously, but those cookies for you or that cookie aisle for you could be social media, like going on Snapchat, or for nicotine, it could be going into a certain gas station that always has your favorite type of vape in there. And honestly, the simple fixes to avoiding these triggers is avoiding the cookie aisle. Don't go to that gas station. Delete that app.
You have to go to the gas station anyway, but choose the one that doesn't have your vice.
Right. I'm not saying quit lifing. Don't not go shopping. You need to go shop. All we're trying to say is to do it smartly. Prepare yourself before you get there.
I heard one time that if you want to eat healthier, you don't want to follow a strict diet or anything. You just want to eat healthier in general, to shop the outer edges of the grocery store, just the perimeter. That's where the freshest and healthiest ingredients are. And that does keep you off the cookie aisle. You have to go to the grocery store because you need the groceries. But you don't have to put yourself on the aisle where you're even looking at the groceries you know that you shouldn't buy.
Shoot, I've never even realized that that's true. But now that I think about that, that is true. But yeah, make your route and plan specifically for dieting. If when you're going shopping, make your route and plan before you go. But like we said, the cookie aisle metaphor works with all these bad habits. My favorite way to portray bad habits is like a sumo wrestler. All right. And what I mean by that is the more you feed him, the fatter he's going to get. And the easier it's going to be for him to push you around. And so, in the end, the best way for you to beat this sumo wrestler is to starve him. When you starve him of your bad habits, or the triggers that lead to these bad habits, then it's going to be easier to face those bad habits when they come to tempt you the next time. The more you starve the sumo wrestler, you get him down from 600 pounds to 400 pounds to 200 pounds until he's just 70 pounds and he's not even as heavy as your left leg, you can really throw him around. And that makes it beating your habits a lot easier, is when you don't give them enough power to fight you back.
When they don't have the power, you can then replace that with good habits.
Exactly.
So you can define what it is that you want and take control over actually setting the habits for your life that are going to make it the life that you're trying to live.
Yeah. And starving your sumo wrestler by not going down the cookie aisle, it's going to make it easier to handle, but it doesn't mean you can get complacent just because you made him, you're up on your self-control, you've built that up for yourself, and your sumo wrestler's small, so to say, doesn't mean you can get complacent and start looking in the cookie aisle again. That's just gonna feed him back.
What about when other people go down the cookie aisle and you're shopping with them?
I'd say if they're your friend and if they want to see the best in you, then they are going to have the mindset to not push you down the cookie aisle. They're not going to force you to do that. They're really your friend and they want to help you develop as much as you want to help develop yourself. Then they're going to look out for you and make sure you don't have to go down that aisle with them.
The reason I ask
they
that
won't
is
go down the aisle themselves.
We're a product of the 5 people that we spend the most time with.
Exactly.
And we pick up habits and tendencies from those people. So you have to ask yourself, who am I surrounding myself with? Because if it is people that go down the cookie aisle and you have a bad cookie problem, you're going to end up on the cookie aisle with them. And you're putting yourself in a situation to have to make that decision. That, I'm not going to buy the cookies. Or, well, this one time won't hurt. Because the lie is that you can handle it. Because, I can handle buying 1 pack of cookies. I'll just eat 1 a day. But can you really handle it?
Right. The day you think, oh, I've got this now. I've beat my habit. This bad habit, this addiction, whatever it is it's a slippery slope back. And the sumo wrestler puts on pounds quick.
Yeah.
The moment you start feeding him again, he'll be thrashing you up against the wall or out of the ring, wherever this metaphor goes, in no time.
So just to keep the analogy going.
Yeah.
It's what Dan's saying is you have to find the right location to do your shopping. Whatever you're looking to get out of your life, you have to go to that location to get what you want, because you can't go to a car dealership and buy bananas. They have cars at a car dealership. So you want to shop for cars at a car dealership and apply that to anything in your life. Once you do figure out where it is that you can purchase or attain what you want, you have to do what's required to acquire it, whether it's pay for it. And that's something that I think a lot of people forget about. They forget about the step of paying for it, because you're not just going to get it because you went to the store. You still have to pay the bill.
Yeah, and we understand that there is difficulty sometimes just avoiding the cookie aisle, because whether it's your job, your life, your friends, sometimes you might be walked down the cookie aisle, like we were saying. And that might not mean that they're a bad friend. Maybe it's something you have to do for work that takes you close to your triggers, and that's tough. And that's just something you have to do in life. And we get that. And those are moments you're just going to have to hang on and really rely on your self-control. And hopefully you set yourself up for this moment by not feeding that sumo wrestler. So when it comes time to go down the cookie aisle, you can survive that that walk down without even looking at the cookies or without getting anything to trip you up on your diet or your bad habit, addiction, whatever.
I think the biggest point in all of this too is once you do get there, because I've been there several times in my life where I'm like, all right, man, I've stayed off the cookie aisle. I'm doing really well with this. Um, but I wasn't a good steward of the success that I had for staying off the cookie aisle, and the cookies come back quickly. You have to be a good steward of your success or your achievements, because if you're not, then you can lose them really quickly, and you probably won't achieve anything else if that's the kind of energy you're putting out into the world.
Yeah. And to be real, some of these bad habits that I've personally struggled with, I've struggled with gossip in the past, which always hurts me because I've been told it's the lowest form of emotional intelligence. And the hard thing with that one is everyone does it, and it's so easy to just do, just to talk shit about
It
people.
feels good.
It feels good. It's a quick dopamine fix. That's a hard one that I've struggled with. Dieting, food in general. I've been all over my weight, up and down 60 pounds here and there over the past couple of years. So that's one I struggle with big time because I really enjoy food and my wife's a great cook. So I'm just doomed.
I have a problem with money. I like money a lot, and I tend to idolize that in my life. And I mean, it brings up a great point of how subtle some of these vices can be.
Yeah.
It could be your identity. Something as simple as your identity. You could put so much energy and time into your identity that it just becomes an idol in your life.
And how you recognize these vices and whether they're really starting to be considered a bad habit. Because not all these things are necessarily bad. In moderation, you can probably sustain them. But when they start to either financially cripple you, cripple relationships you have, whether it's spouses or children or colleagues or friends, when it really starts to make an impact that is negative, that's when you need to realize that that's your cookie. That's your cookie aisle. And you need to start dialing back on these habits or addictions or whatever is getting you into these situations where it's causing you obstacles in your life. That's when you need to find out what is your cookie aisle, what leads you down this road to cheating on your habit or your addiction. And just be aware. Start planning for the next time you have to be in a situation. And if you can't just avoid the cookie aisle altogether, you need to plan a decisive way to get in and out of that store without going down the cookie aisle.
Or have a buffer. That's where accountability partners are really important.
Oh, yeah.
Just having the buffer there that they're going to check in and make sure that you didn't do it.
Yeah. And it's okay to slip up and fail. We do all the time. Like I said, I've plateaued on my diet. I was losing pounds left and right. And
I ate a bag of Jolly Rancher gummies today.
I had biscuits and gravy for breakfast and a giant boar's head deli meat roll for lunch. So I'm nowhere in ketosis right now, but I plan to be back. I'm proud of my progress so far, but I still want to keep going. It's okay to slip up, but we're being real with you, and we're here to support all of you listening on your journey to keep improving yourself as we keep trying to improve ourselves. Until next time, let's be a little bit more real and a little bit better. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, smash any button there is, and listen wherever you're listening to us. Until next time.
Thank you guys for tuning in.